Maybe take a step back, because I think, our audience, about 1/3 of it is traditional finance folks, and a number of product people as well. But cohort analysis, like, what is that? Because I'm hearing that pop up a lot in our conversation. What exactly is that? Who owns it? When should it be done? What should it, like, why should I care? So what does it tell me?
But I think that if you talk to different C-suites or CEOs that have grown up through different functional functional ways they've grown up, a customer success person will say that they own it. A marketing person might say that they own it. A really good product person says they own it. Maybe not enough product people should say that they own it. And I would say that in the scale up stage of growth, the way that it typically works is that someone in your C-suite needs to be passionate about it. And often it doesn't matter to me whether it's the finance person. Typically, if they have much more of an FP&A background, it'll be them, they're looking at it, whether it's the marketing person who identifies as a marketing person or product or whoever it is. But someone has to own it and then use it to make decisions across the organization. It really depends on who's passionate about it. But if it's not a conversation that you're having at the C-suite, and I just define the C-suite as anyone reporting to the CEO. So that's just my generic kind of term for anyone reporting to the CEO. If you're not having conversations about cohort analysis and how that should be driving some of the things that you're doing, sometimes people will call it, there's very specific definitions for cohort analysis, and I could bring them up on Google, but it's really not the point. The point is that it's really understanding who your target market is, your kind of like persona, and how does that change over time? What are the nuances within it? So kind of really looking at a grouping of target customers and how they're acting. So it's a combination of the actual definition of the grouping of the customer and how they act. It's the combination of the two.
I guess it's those characteristics that kind of bind a group of people, whether it's the time that they signed up maybe for your subscription service, or maybe it's like in the case of when we talked about the rent to upgrade users, that's a specific cohort based on the use case that they're using the product for, and seeing how those develop over time, because then you can nicely compare them with each other. And you can, it's not really an A/B test because you're not running them in parallel, but you're also able to see how you've adjusted things, right? So like a very specific example is for us at Grover, we had a credit risk model, and we could see how cohorts perform over time based on tweaks that we made to our risk model. So we would approve certain customers based on certain criteria. And then, 3 months later, maybe we changed that model slightly, and we'd see how those cohorts would perform in terms of like things like delinquency and things like that, right? So I think, but again, these concepts are tools that you can have conversations around. And I think if everyone understands them, and I think, and this also goes back to what Joyce, your mission really is to like get these executive teams to understand these concepts. And I think like step one is really, does everyone understand the language that we're talking, that we're speaking? And I think the role of the CEO and the C-level is really to make sure that's happening within their own kind of conversations, but also maybe one level down. And then the second question, and I think this is probably the linchpin, is does your data and are your analytics tools actually telling you the story they should be? And then this is like from an investor point of view, I think a lot of early stage startups, like I don't think they really know the data story. I don't think their analytics are actually, the health of the data is not there. And so to come up with these like economics models, I would really dig into like this is what due diligence is for, but like, are the story that they're telling in the unit economics model, is that the same one that's happening actually in real life?